Let's continue getting reaction on Africa Day. I'm joined by Institute for Security Studies researcher Liesl Louw-Vaudran. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. 57 years after the formation of the AU, how far are the goals of inclusive and sustainable development?
Yes, I think the African Union, despite all the challenges, has made a lot of progress in the last number of years. We've really seen a shift, I think, on many fronts, notably trying to improve the self-financing of the AU, which has really been one of the major stumbling blocks. If you think that the organization based in Addis Ababa with its staff and the running costs and the programs have been largely financed by the European Union and outsiders. So that is something that I would say since 2015 really there has been a lot of progress. There is also efforts, there are many efforts being made in order to streamline the work of the African Union. I mean, its core business really of trying to silence the guns, which is the theme of the AU for 2020, is something that the AU has paid a lot of attention to. But now we've had the African Continental Free Trade Area, which, everyone's been talking about, that's been delayed now, but it's at least a lot of the agreements have been signed, and it is a step forward for the continent, and it is an achievement for the African Union. And then finally, I think we could really say that in the COVID-19 crisis, the Africa CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, has really taken charge. We don't see at the level of the African Union the same kind of mudslinging, bickering between member states as you would see in other multilateral organizations and, supranational organizations like the EU, for example.
Know that there's an African Union COVID-19 fund. They are trying to fundraise today, hoping to raise $1 million for today. Talk to us about the fund and its work and the importance of unity, particularly in challenging a crisis like COVID-19.
Yes, I think they have already raised a considerable amount of money, with the challenges in terms of resources, which was already an achievement. I mean, President Cyril Ramaphosa has held a number of meetings with AU member states, the Bureau of the AU, which is representative of the various regions, and then, he appointed these 5 special envoys. There were originally just 4 of them, 5 of them, to raise funds, to interact with the international financial institutions when it comes to cancelling the debt. And I think we have seen a good result from that countries have been granted debt relief to help African countries cope with COVID-19. There has also been, I think, which is, the African Union itself as an organization doesn't have funding to buy protective equipment and so forth. The part of the Solidarity Fund, some of the money has gone to the Africa CDC just as an institution, which was only created really, it's been in existence for a while, but in 2017 it really only taken off. So it's a very young institution, and it was given that boost after the Ebola crisis of 2014 and under the chairship of the former chairperson, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, the Africa CDC really took off. So part of the Solidarity Fund will go to African countries, but then also to the CDC for its work. And it has been coordinating something that has really been, around the world, a huge issue, the procurement of protective equipment and so on, and the distribution of aid. I mean, all the aid to Africa, or a lot of it that has come from The Jack Ma Foundation in China, for example, has gone to Addis Ababa with Ethiopian Airlines, was coordinated by the Africa CDC and distributed to pretty much every African country, which is quite significant. So, I mean, there are huge capacity constraints. But somehow, with COVID-19, we've seen the African Union play its role to coordinate and to also share information. You know, it's still a worry that some media on the continent are still referring to, you know, international statistics on COVID-19. The Africa CDC should be the port of call, that they are the ones with the official statistics on what you know, the virus, how the pandemic has spread on the continent, and they are actually doing that.
Institute for Security Studies researcher Liesl Louw-Vaudran joining me via Skype there. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon.